Hello and welcome to another episode of the Dumb and Dumbest podcast. This is actually recording. Yesterday we tried to record and it did not record. So I'm going to upload this today and we'll record another one over the weekend to get back on track. Curtis has been kind of sick. And Curtis, for those of you who don't know, is actually my beautiful, wonderful co-host.
I am.
Anyway, this is a music industry podcast where everything is terrible and the house is on fire. This is more or less daily. We talk about everything. If you have questions, write in, and we will answer them.
What is that noise that's going on in the background?
Oh, sorry. I was just mixing up. I'm fasting right now, but I'm mixing up a protein shake.
Oh, it sounded like how Kermit would do his typing thing on the Muppet Show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like.
Do you want to know who was a guest on the Muppet Show that it still amazes me was a guest on the Muppet Show?
Alice Cooper?
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I saw that one. That was awesome.
You read my mind. Yeah. It's a great episode of the Muppet Show.
I'm pretty sure Kiss was a guest at one point too, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not sure.
Oh,
I just for the record, I watched all of the Muppet Show in my 7th grade puppetry class.
You watched all the seasons?
There's only like 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought that there was like 6 or 7. Okay.
Anyway, watched it in puppetry. It was great.
Interesting. So what are we talking about today, Matt?
Why don't you introduce the subject, Curtis?
Oh, because I thought you wanted to, but
no, introduce the subject because I have to go get my laptop charger.
Oh, so Matt's in the middle of something. I see. Okay, so we're going to be talking today about knowing your place in the world. Well, specifically, more like knowing where you fit in the grand scheme of things in the music industry. So, like, for example, not thinking that you are more important than you are. That's correct how we want to frame it, Matt?
That is correct, Curtis.
Yeah. Okay. So not thinking that you're more important than you are, but reversely, as we also mentioned yesterday, there are also lots of people that don't think they're that important, who are quite important in the grand scheme of things in music.
Yeah. And so finding that balance is really tricky. And I think, and again, this is really more about like people who don't necessarily understand why they're not getting the value they thought they were going to get from their label or booking agency or manager or whatever. And this is about figuring out that balance because it's a tricky balance.
And it's not always necessarily that they're not giving the value. It's that sometimes it's almost like if you're new, your expectations shouldn't. They should be high, but you should also realize what's a good thing for your place where you are right now.
Exactly.
Like, what are good results? What should you actually expect? Like, for example, should you? Some people basically expect that they should sell 10,000 copies of their record the first time it comes out. They put something out rather, even though it's self-released. And they've never done, and it's an EP and it's a debut. Probably not going to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
But can it happen? Sure, of course. Or if you got signed to something like, I don't know, maybe Prophecy Productions, and you're like a brand new band. I don't think they'd ever sign someone with their debut, but if they did, and then they're going like, well, why isn't Prophecy putting me at the head of the list of promotional items, and why aren't they treating me like, I'm like a rock star or something, right?
Yeah. And again, I think it's realizing where you fall. Yeah. And also, at the end of the day, looking around you. So many people don't look around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's really a big concern for a lot of bands is that a lot of times, and now something to realize is that if you're listening to this podcast, you're in the top 5% of bands, because as we all know, 19 out of 20 bands have no fucking clue about any of this.
Most, yeah. I don't know about 19 out of 20. I was going to say a little bit higher than that, but lower rather.
So simultaneously, realize where you're at, but there's so much competition. That is tricky, but don't compare yourself to your shitty meth head friend whose band isn't going anywhere. Compare yourself to a band in your scene who's slightly bigger than you. Look at, and if you don't know a band in your scene that's slightly bigger than you, literally Google metal bands from your city.
Yeah. And see how you're doing in comparison. Unless you're in New York City, and then the comparison is going to be a little bit skewed.
Exactly. Like, but be realistic and like figure it out. Because like if you're in New York City and you're like a sludge metal band, then like look at like Unearthly Trance or something. Like look at sludge metal bands. Don't look at big metal bands from New York City. You know what I mean? But really look around and like just practice that self-awareness, and that's going to help you grow so much. And practice just understanding like this is where we're at and this is who we are. And that's just going to make you grow, because I think simultaneously it's like, look, if you are the smallest fish in a big pond and you raise a big stink, we're just going to kick you out of that pond. Like if you're a small ripple band that's causing us more grief than the Wofats and Motherships and Freedom Hawks of the label, that's not to say we're not going to give attention to those bands. But if you're a small band who haven't toured a bunch nationally and don't go to Europe a lot, like why would we attribute the same attention?
It's kind of, you got to give some, and you got to. Well, I have the same thing. I'll have clients that'll complain to me that they don't have as much press as other clients that I've gotten, but yet those same people generally are the same guys that won't share reviews, won't answer interviews, or won't answer them on time, that type of thing, right? And it's kind of like, well, I'm not going to be putting as much attention on you, or just because of the fact that you don't put the effort in, right?
Well, something I really enjoy that you do, Curtis, is, and this is great, is right away, whenever anyone starts with you, you give them 4 interviews to fill out.
Sometimes I don't always do that, but I generally what I'll do is I'll send off at least a couple form interviews for people to do, just to get the ball rolling and get some stuff going. Now, what were you going to say? Because I was going to add something to that.
Yeah. Now the thing is, that's a huge value, and it's for a couple reasons. Like like obviously, like any interview is good, and like form interviews are great. But also, more importantly, those sort of act as a litmus test, and there's sort of a way to say, like, if you're not willing to do a form interview,
bingo.
Because who does fucking form interviews and who does them well? Kyle Thomas from Exhorter.
I knew you were going to say that.
Because he's great at them. Like, you will never be, like, straight up, you are not going to be as influential to the history of metal as someone who was in Trouble and Exhorter. Like straight up. I'm not trying to be an asshole. Just straight up.
Unless your name's James Hetfield.
Yeah, that's just how it is, and that's fine. But you need to be, like that. That's why it's a litmus test. It's a way of saying, like, okay, look, if you're not willing to do this small thing, why would you expect a PR person to really bend over backwards for you? It's the same with label people. It's the same with management companies.
Actually,
it's like.
Sorry, I'll let you go ahead.
It's like if a manager says, like, oh, look, we need you, like, we think you'd be better off with singing lessons, which isn't like an insult, by the way. Singing lessons are something I honestly believe 99% of vocalists could benefit from, and the other 1% probably had singing lessons. Like that's not me trying to be like, oh, every vocalist sucks. It's just like, no, like singing lessons are legitimately helpful. And I think for people in certain situations in this music community, they're just really something to consider, and guess what? Like if your management tells you something like that, like, oh, singing lessons are something you got to invest in, and you don't do that, or you have a half-assed excuse, do you think that management company is going to take you as seriously and going to be as into it?
Nope. Well, here's the thing: is that one thing that I've noticed is that if the person doesn't, we'll just get back to the form interviews. I wanted to make the point, as you're saying, that if the person doesn't do the form interviews or they take a super long time to return them, 99.9% of the time they're going to do that with the more important ones, or what they're going to just keep doing that to me for the rest of the campaign.
Yeah, because like
I can tell then from that point forward what I'm dealing with.
yeah, and here's the thing for me too is like even if form interviews suck and stuff, like I like to view them just as practice.
Yeah, me and Matt do form interviews too. Like if I get a form interview for a band, I'll usually ask if I can do one too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've sent them over to Matt as well, and he's done them done just like I have.
And I try to do them thoughtfully, and like I it's not always easy, like I'm not always like super stoked, but I try to give unique different answers that aren't just like my bio. You know what I mean? That's not
it gives you good practice, just like Matt said, and it's also good for just getting your name out there, because if someone stumbles across the interview, even if it's on a small blog, that's someone that might be checking out your music. And also, like I've said before, is a lot of those small bloggers end up writing for big sites later. Perfect example, Matt Bacon from Two Guys Metal Reviews, Aaron Price, who is Five Magics, now also at Metal Injection. Wasn't Cody at a small, tiny little place before he started Metal Injection too?
Yeah, and he's also at Noisy now.
But yes, there you go. So there's two big places he's at, and I mean, there's so many people. Like Kat Jones was like that. She started off a small one, then went to Metal Sucks, blah blah blah.
Yeah, well, because like people writing about metal, like it's like even if you get a job at Decibel, like how much money do you think they're really looking at making? You know what I mean?
$50,000 a month.
Exactly. No. So like, which is fine if that's what you want to do, like good. You know what I mean? But like what I'm trying to say is be aware that those things help, and again, it's also a question of showing the label your initiative, because that's the other thing, right? Is like if you're a small band and you tell me, oh, we're a small band and we're and we appreciate we're a small band and we want to grow, and here's some things we were wondering if you could do as a label.
Yeah.
And then you don't act on them, or you don't do basic shit like like post daily on your social media or do the form interviews I send you, then like I'm not going to go bend over backwards to help you, exactly. But if you're going out of your way to do the form interviews and you're please put your earbuds in, Curtis.
I don't have earbuds here today. Sorry.
Okay. But if you're going out of your way to do the form interviews and to play, and to do all the things that make you better, make people give a shit, then guess what? I'm going to give more of a shit. Like there's a band called Witcher's Creed on Ripple who are all super young kids, but they do everything I tell them to do. So we keep bending over backwards for them. It's the same with, Witch Kiss, who are our friends. Like Witch Kiss, I don't think they're currently paying Curtis. They pay me for social media advice, and that's about it. But like, guess what? They listen and they show me they have initiative, and it's like, cool.
Yeah, I think Scott's only turned down one thing I've ever sent him, and like,
and there's probably a reason for
time.
That. Yeah,
exactly. Like, have time to do it.
He's got like kids and shit. Like, I get it.
Yeah. It was like a legit excuse. I can't remember what it was, but it was like one time, one thing, and that was it.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. It's like I'm not saying that you need to like go insane over every small thing, and it's definitely like you can definitely be judicious about like doing a form interview for like a weird Russian RAR blog.
But at the same time, something like that. But I mean, at the same time, I always think that you should, if someone if you can get it, take it, just because of the fact, A, it shows that you're willing, B, it shows
absolutely
professionalism. I mean, the only way I would turn something down is if they wanted me to write something about, I don't know, porn and drugs, both things I'm not into, you know what I mean? But
like, point being, again, showing that initiative makes people take you more seriously. If you don't show the initiative, and don't fucking ask me how you show initiative. Like, because it's one fucking Google search away. And if you can't fucking Google something, like, I don't know, man. Get your mind right.
Another thing on knowing your place in the world, assuming we're done on that point right there, is that I've also had it where, like, for example, I'll get a newer band, a stream at a big site, right? Fair enough, right? That's good, right?
Yeah.
Right? But the write-up won't be that great. And then they complain. Now, to me, if I'm a new band and I get a write-up at a major place, like, I don't know, like if it's Decibel or Metal Injection or Metal Sucks or whatever, and it's just like a small little tiny little write-up, I wouldn't complain. But apparently but I've had it happen a lot of times where people complain to me and they're like, get them to change it. I'm like, fuck you, I'm not doing nothing, right? Would you agree, Matt, that would fall under this?
Yeah. And that's a whole separate podcast episode, is talking about, like, making changes in reviews, because there's a way to do it and a way not to do it.
Well, I mean, asking them to, anyways, we won't go into it.
We won't go down that rabbit hole. Point being, all we're trying to say is practice self-awareness. Look, like, if you're wondering, where you stand, look at the label or management company or whoever's social media, and realize, like, and go like, okay, who are they trying to push? What are those bands doing that I'm not doing? How do I make myself, because, like, at the end of the day, with the people in music who are good, they're, broadly speaking, smart people who want to work in music. Like, I could go make way more money doing something else. I've gotten offers to make way more money doing something else. But I happen to really enjoy Darkthrone. So, you know what I mean? And, like, cool. But that also means that, since, like, I want to do things, and I'm going to put more effort into doing things that are interesting to me. And that's just a basic human reaction. As humans want to do things they find interesting for work or pleasure or whatever. So if you can't accept that, you're SOL.
Yeah, I agree.
That's basically where we had to go with this. What do you have to plug, Curtis?
What's that?
What do you have to plug? Remember, this episode is actually going to come out today.
Oh, that's right. So Bane released today. It's a black and death metal from Montreal/Serbia. Yes, I know that's kind of weird, but whatever. Out today. Great album. Go check it out. It just streamed in full at No Clean Singing the other day, but since it's out today, I don't know why you'd go there, come to think of it. So just go to Bandcamp. Check it out. Bane. Great band.
Perfect. Excellent stuff. We have to trigger you all. We have the new Nact Mystium out today on Prophecy. So
that out still.
Yeah, so go enjoy Resilient. It's actually really, really good. Also, just something that's been selling really well for me lately has been my analysis papers. And I actually recently upgraded them from 3,000 words, which was pretty good bang for your buck for $150, which is what I charge, to now they are over 6,000 words.
Ooh.
So, like, that's some pretty ridiculous bang for your buck. It gives, like, the initial response has been extremely positive. And, I mean, Curtis can attest, it's chock full of fucking great information.
Well, I saw the one he did for, am I allowed to say who you did it for?
Yeah.
I saw the one he did for Death Kings. He showed it to me just about an hour ago, and it's really, really good. It was quite packed with information. I think it was worth more than the $150 he's charging for it personally, but I mean, I don't know if you're allowed, if you're able to give anyone a sample before they reid, but
yeah, I mean, I'll confirm with Nick that I can send his to other people. But I don't think he'll say no. So anyway, thank you guys for listening. This has been Dumb and Dumbest.
Are we done yet?